Welcome to the Red White News Show with Dean McMurray, the military medium.
All right, welcome friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Red White News Show with me, your host, the military medium. Today I have a very special guest, Dani Rocco. Now let me describe this special person. She's not only a mother, wife, and a lifelong entrepreneur, but she's also the author of her recent book, Devoted to a Soldier, that has since turned into a documentary. I want to invite to the show, Dani. Welcome to the Red White News Show.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Absolutely. So share with me and the listeners a little bit about your background, and then we can go right into the book as well.
Sure. So quick me in a little button is I ran a family business for 23 years. When my brother and I decided that it was time for us to grow up and do something else, I organically ended up coaching high-level CEOs in relationships, Fortune 500 guys, all men, really having a relationship with yourself so they could have relationships outside of themselves because they had a kick butt in the business world, but their, home life sucked. They either their marriages or they didn't have one, which was great. And I loved it, but I have 6 kids. I'm married. They're very needy. So the balance was totally wonky. And so I had to find myself again. What am I going to do? And someone said to me, well, what do you do in love that nobody knows, that you just do anyways? And my son, my oldest son, is a Marine veteran, and he changed my life. He changed my life when I was blessed with him at the age of 16, and he changed my life the day he went to boot camp. And so I took all my skills and resources that I have, and I focused it into the military family.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, and so out of all of that, out of that love came this book, Devoted to a Soldier. Share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, what I was doing was I was, pouring all my heart and soul into, my military moms groups and everybody I knew. What I was coming to find is that the military has the highest divorce rate. It keeps going up. That does not help and add to isolation, addiction, PTSD, TBS, everything that they kind of go through. So that is how I came up with the book. And I learned best by doing, by hearing someone's story or feeling them or being around them. That is how I learned. So that is what my book is basically about. I go over 4 pillars. There's a workbook at the end of it, but each chapter is somebody's life in their own words. I kept it as close to them as possible. So I recorded their story. I had it transcribed. I edit it because we don't realize how many times we say, yeah,
Right.
it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that was the only editing that was done, was just those little kind of glitches that to make it make sense. But I wanted, when you read it, to actually feel what they were going through and then learn through the 4 pillars and the workbook how to maybe foresee the issues, or kind of be like, oh, dang, I'm in the middle of this issue right now, and I
Right.
don't want it to end up that way. So maybe we can try something different.
Interesting. I watched a little bit about you talking about the 4 pillars. Would you mind sharing about those?
Yes, and I have them written down because I have my own TBI. So sometimes, even though I made this up, I'm like, what did I say? I was brilliant in that moment.
Right.
So the first one is about developing your family mission statement. So you go through, you're trained, you know this, right? You have a mission, you have a purpose. It's very easy, XYZ, solution accomplished.
Right.
But we're human beings, and a lot of times we don't think, what is our mission as an individual, and what is our mission together as a couple? So when you're in those hard times, in the we all have them, you know, something's gone awry, you hate each other, you've been deployed for 8 months. If you don't have that baseline of what you want, man, all of those troubles just kind of overcome and take you on. So it's like about creating that. And then the second pillar is learning how your ego prevents you from manifesting everything. We don't realize how deep our ego actually goes. It's really deep into the littlest things. So we discussed that about how to see it, how to notice when your ego's taking over. You think you're doing good, but it's actually just wanting recognition. And that's just a slippery slope into, you know, pain and suffering and arguments. Let's see. The third is understanding the power of our subconscious. So this is perfect for what's going on today in this world of the coronavirus, right? And we're at home, and we
Right.
need to be at home, and you hear all day long, you're hearing this negative and this illness and this, you know, this fear-based propaganda or whatever, just people talking fear. You start to become that, and you don't even realize that all of a sudden, why am I so fearful? Why do I feel sick? Why am I not in a good mood?
Right.
It's our subconscious is taking it all in and acting. So when we realize that in our own relationships, we can kind of be like, oh, no, that is something from the past that has nothing to do with my reality right now. So kind of determining when we're letting our subconscious take over, maybe from a
Mm,
relationship you've had before and you just got triggered from, you know, an action in this. And then the last one is you taking all of that and having the strength of your mind, because we are so powerful individuals,
mm.
so powerful. And I think we forget. We don't practice it. We don't practice using our intuition, our internal powers, and our feminine powers, our masculine powers. We just kind of succumb to the world, or we're told to do things, or our neighbor's miserable and they're telling us that, you know, he's treating you badly and he should treat you better, and you agree, and now you're divorced and you don't even know why, you know. So
Right.
it's really about having to take those three pillars, use your mind to strengthen and get all the desires you want in this world.
You know, it's refreshing to hear somebody else use, you know, terms like I see words jump out at me like manifesting, and you talk about the masculine and the feminine energies, and you know the ego and everything, and talking about how does that, you know, a lot of people call it the new age woo woo, a spiritual mumbo jumbo, but in reality, when you talked about it, how about how it can really the power or the you know the power of attraction, right? Attracting whether it's abundance in your life or a deeper meaningful relationship, whether it's love or romantic or business or whatever, different aspects in your life. And that was just, it was really cool to not only listen and hear that from you, but also see that in your work. So that was really cool about how you blend that into your message. And I think that a lot of people miss the boat on that, right? They're always focused. You talk about the current situation that we're in with COVID-19 and the coronavirus, and how the situation of maybe the fear-based mongering and all that. And I call it kind of, I use the analogy of this is, it doesn't make any sense to brush your teeth and then eat a whole container of Oreo cookies, because you're just going to mess up the whole, right? You're going to get everything dirty and nasty again. And saying, so you're just mucking it up with negative energy or just the things that don't, you know,
Mhm.
support you and your mission and maybe your family, right?
Yeah, well, you know, you move to where you think. So if you
Yes.
think, you know, negative, you think fear, that's where you're going to move to.
Right.
So it's, you know, and there have been stories like people always say, like, when you say that new age kind of thinking, I'm like, Yeah, people say that, but this stuff has been around since the
Yeah.
beginning of time. It doesn't matter what your religion is.
Right.
Look at the Bible is full of these stories,
Yes.
mythical, Zeus and all that. They're full of these lessons that we just forget.
Yeah.
We just get lazy and we're like, well, I'm here.
Right.
Howdy doody.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of times too that we get so numb to hearing it over and over, right? And I think it's almost used sometimes either out of context or they don't put two and two together as saying, oh, that's intuition, or oh, and you talk a little bit about your where you kind of started off like coaching CEOs, right? And a lot of these folks working for Fortune 500 companies or whatever their business model. And I've come to find, and I'm sure you have as well, is the people that learn some of the secret sauce, or really accelerate their life, is the people that learn to bridge the gap between some of those things
Mhm.
and are able to either manifest some really cool things within their life, whether it's on the business or personal relationship aspect or other things. Have you found that to be true?
I have found it to be true. And I think so this is what I think the secret to the success is really, and what that gap is. They are willing to be like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
they're willing to put themselves in this place of like, this isn't right. I don't know how to get myself out of it. So I'm going to find the person to do it. Now, they might not share it publicly, their weaknesses all the time, but they recognize it internally. So the reason they were open to work with me was because they knew that their outside relationships were not right. They didn't know how to fix it, but they knew it wasn't right. And they knew they wanted it to be right. And the biggest thing I've found with people, I'm just going to say like them, right, that are successful in whatever it is, then the majority of society is that they were willing to, when I said to them, this is your fault, you better own your piece of it, they were like, oh, it is my fault. No matter what the situation was.
Right.
When you are in a relationship with somebody, well, actually, even yourself, any relationship, so with yourself or somebody else, you play a piece in it. And we don't do that a lot. A lot of times we say, well, if they didn't do that, then I wouldn't have reacted this way. Like, well, what are you trying to accomplish here? Right? Blame?
Right.
What is the purpose of that even statement? Like, what is your outcome? Like, I'm always like, what are you trying to get? To be right or to solve a problem? You can't do both.
Right. Well, and what's funny too is when you confront either yourself or somebody else on that level, it's funny how their ego will react, right? It's almost like the automatic defensive wall to be like, no, no, that's not my fault. That was somebody else that did that to me. It's like, that's not me, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how people show up in times like that. Do they take ownership or do they blame
Mm-hmm.
to, yeah, because we
Yeah.
don't want to be at fault. We don't want to, I'm just going to say it. We don't want to own our shit.
Exactly, exactly. It's hard, it's difficult. But so when people say manifest, you actually can manifest. Well, you can only manifest if you own your own crap, if you carry it
Right.
with
Yep.
you. It's,
Yep.
I was in a relationship, a friendship relationship and business relationship, and the person drove me absolutely crazy. And I wouldn't walk away. And I realized that I was like, if you would just listen to me, I can see this so clearly. Why are you always the victim? Just pick up your pants and do this. And then I'm like, oh my God, why do I care so much? It's not my journey. That was my ego, right? Being
Mm,
like, and so finally I was just like, you know what? I, bless you. I am here if you want advice or support, but I took out the care. I didn't care. It wasn't a reflection of me anymore. And it was so freeing. But there's how your ego in a
right.
relationship can really, you have to own that. Because if you look outwardly, it always looks like there's a right and a wrong and a good and a
Right.
bad, but that's not the truth. It's an equal playing field.
Yeah. I think that's so and getting back to those business owners, or the movers and shakers, as I like to call them, I think that's kind of what separates the people, what a lot of people would consider the upper tier, right? So
Uh,
people that are always comparing themselves to them, saying, "Oh, they always get this," or they're always, and it's saying it's not the fact. It's just saying that they're willing to own their stuff and move beyond it, right?
yeah. It's
So
the
they can just,
hours. It's the
yeah,
hours of work you put in when nobody's looking. You know, the really good, hot and heavy relationships, that you can just feel it when you get in that room.
right,
That's just not there. They just don't wake up every day 24/7 and love each other.
right,
It's the work that nobody sees behind closed doors that then, the world just sees that little snapshot of awesomeness.
the iceberg
But
effect, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the documentary. So you got this awesome kick-ass book, Changing Lives. How does it become a documentary?
Yes. I don't know. God just did, but it just was like one of those, again, weird things that just happen. And I'm always like, this is what I go through in my head. Is it going with my morals? Is it creating like something good, that's
Right,
outside of myself? Then the answer is, if the answer is yes, then I must say yes. I must explore it. Doesn't mean I have to be all in, but I have to at least explore it no matter what that looks like. So I didn't know what it was to be a documentary. I've done a couple series and things like TV series and stuff, but I got connected with somebody through a friend, and it just worked. I said, how can we continue to bring resources? How can we continue to create community and change? And I like to talk, I like to meet people. She's like a healer, so she does a lot of different, it's always hard to explain what she does because she does a bunch of different modalities in the healing world.
okay,
And that's what she loves to do, is teach people how to heal themselves, right? Like, and so that's how it created, which is not a good answer at all. It's a terrible answer to your question, but there's no other better way than just said it happened, and it's evolved from meeting one person after another, after another, after another. Um, and so it's just organically moving, and it's really awesome, actually, to be honest with you. Um, Being able to take people that were ashamed to be a veteran and show them support and community just by being yourself, just by having a family dinner, because I always make sure we have a family potluck because I'm Italian and I like to eat. And just to make them feel like they have their life back, like that's huge, and it's addicting. It's really an addicting feeling to be able to watch that kind of trickle across the country.
right. So is the documentary just the book in real world action? Is that the premise of the four pillars in action on film?
Oh, oh, wow. Actually, kind of, yes. Um, I never thought of it. You just like, my mind just exploded about what you just said. I talked about subconsciously how you do things. I
Right.
think you just brought a subconscious act into my like reality here. I gotta take a minute. But yeah, yes, yeah. It is because with every when you talk about isolation, when you talk about any of the typical problems or situations, or reconverting from active to veteran, all of these different things, the main source is the beginning one is, who are you? Where is your mission statement? They don't have it anymore because it was been ripped from them when they left service.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is. And by doing that, by bringing all of these awesome resources that are in this world, like you're a resource that maybe not everybody knows about you. And now that I'm on here, that many more people are going to, because I have a different community than you, and those people have a different community, right? You're showing a way that who you are, who's, who your core is, what your mission is, how you've transferred it. If we got a little deep into you, right? And
Right.
that's how each city is. Each city brings a little bit of that. Like if we were to come to you and the focus was in uplifting you, we would talk about, how did it change your life? What is what you're doing now? How did you get into that? What was that transition like? And I bet you there'd be thousands of people that resonate with you. And
Right.
then through that story, you develop your mission statement. You understand the ego that you had to deal with to get out of. I don't know if you had a struggle in your life ever. I would be surprised if you told me no. I would say we need to have a little talk because you're in denial or
Right.
something, because everybody's got some sort of
Say
struggle.
maybe Dean, maybe you need to shut down that ego for a little while. Maybe you
Yeah.
find
And find that right. But by doing this in a reality base, showing that I don't want to say the breakdown of people, but I always say I break down all the time in front of people. That's the best way to learn, right?
right.
The breakdown and then the rebuilding of what people go through in each city. Doesn't that make this world a little bit smaller?
It does. It does. And that's a thing, it's funny you bring that up is, I think that is one of the reasons that I chose this platform, whether podcasting or radio, but you're really telling people stories and people can see themselves, whether it's radio, TV, whatever, that people can see themselves in others when told through a story, right? And if you go back in time, that's why back in the Roman times and that's why they used to do skits and plays, and you're actually teaching through whatever. And so by watching somebody else's story going, oh my God, that they're just almost just like us. Like I went through something so similar, right? Maybe the wife has cancer and the guy deployed or vice whatever. And whatever, everybody's
Mhm.
experienced something, but like, oh my God, that's us. Or I can resonate with them. They're,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's so cool to hear that. And I like the aspect because especially on this show, we are such a big proponent, or I'm such a big proponent on saying there's more than one way to heal. And because not everybody fits in a box, and one size does not fit all. And so when you're looking at different modalities or different ways to bring about a healing or promote a growth from within or outside or whatever, I think that is so important, that I think a lot of people miss the boat when they're only looking, they get the tunnel vision and they're only
Yeah.
seeing one thing, right?
It's
Pop the
it's
pill or whatever, right?
it's the truth. And if we can get them on a like, oh, well, this is fun. It's kind of like a party. And oh, and then as the documentary unfolds, like the first episode's not out yet. I just kind of give snippets of it. Um, it's almost like being proactive. I say the documentary is a proactive movement instead of a reactive movement. We constantly live in this reactive moment. You're an alcoholic. Oh, crap. We better deal with that. You have a TBI and your anger is out of control. Oh, crap. We better deal with that. Your life is falling apart. Well, what if you as a wife or you as a mother or you as a friend or even just you started watching something and getting connected with something, and then you could people around you, or even maybe yourself, could start to see the foresight because you've been watching it in your subconscious, and it comes faster. So instead of reacting, we're trying to be proactive through these stories, through this reality, of everybody's chaos. Make it fun.
Mm,
Not
mm.
misery is misery, but when you can make it a human connection and show that you got past it, they got past it, they're laughing about it now, or maybe they're not laughing about it, they're never going to laugh about it, right? Because we're all kind of different, but you show all these different angles. I mean, this is how I feel we heal.
Right, right. No, that is really awesome. And it's almost like being aware on a whole different level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And allowing that internal, I don't know, foreshadowing of saying, hey, something's not right. We need to explore this area, or something. I can feel something over here, right?
Yeah.
So interesting. So really fascinating. So with the now, when does the first episode air?
Oh, we don't have a date. So we know by next fall, the episodes will start coming out. So I work with Portsmouth Public Television. Okay, I love them. I have to give them a shout out. I think public television is a dying breed, and people need to know that resource is out there and amazing. It's like basically a television. People want to make all these videos. Well, you have all of this professional equipment and people to do it for you and show you how to do it at your fingertips for like nothing. So anyways,
Right.
that's my little shout. I love it. It's a great resource. A lot of people like didn't even know about it. So with them, Chad, he's my producer. We worked together on this. We said, you know what, we're going to give each other a year to because it's changed from the first one we did in Spokane, Washington in August. Then we went to Newburgh, North Carolina. We've gone to Hollywood. And now, well, our Tennessee one got postponed because I'm not allowed to be there, basically.
Right.
They said, nope, they shut me down. It's morphed and developed. So by next fall, anyways, it's a long rattle on answer. Two, by the fall, the first episode will be out, and then they'll come out back to back because each city is going to be its own episode, because each city has its own feel.
Cool.
Very different. Very
Now,
different.
are these going to be airing streaming online, or will these be coming out like regionally for you? How are these going to be produced and aired?
It's going to be multi. So as of right now, as it sits, it is going to be obviously through Portsmouth Public Television. So it'll be access on all of the public television networks across the country, the cable networks across the country, and then online. Right now, we're just using theirs. I don't have anything in the works for that, but I do have a couple things coming of where it might go on a very big national, big network
Very cool.
piece. But that's kind of in the works. That's
Yep.
not
I
that
get it.
hasn't manifested into the actual reality yet.
You can't quite spill the beans quite yet, right?
Right.
So if somebody wants to be like, oh my God, I need to be following Dani or what she's doing, how do they do that? Where do they go?
So if you go to my website, there's a link to all my social medias, and my website is Dani Rocco, but I'm a girl, so I'm going to spell it because nobody spells it right. It's DaniRocco. That's the easiest way because I have a lot of Italian names: Danielle, Datilio, Rocco. That is what my Facebook name is. But I always say, go there because it has all the social media, has all Devoted to a Soldier social media. We're going to be doing a live virtual resource panel from our Tennessee group this Friday. And we're going to begin continuously doing that because we have people like you. We have people all over that that I'm meeting or that I know that are doing some amazing stuff. So we're like, you know what? This isn't going to stop us. It's just adding to the agenda more of what Devoted to a Soldier is going to be, bringing everybody.
Very cool. Dani, thank you so much for being the guest today on the Red, White, and You show. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I love your energy. Keep doing what you're doing, and good luck to you and your team. And we look forward to seeing what you guys kick out here in the near future.
Oh, yeah. Well, me too. And thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All right. Thank you, Dani.
Thank you.